Welcome to Sisterhood Makeover with Cinda Brown. Today we're going to talk about what sisterhood is, the importance of sisterhood, and why the sisterhood needs a makeover. In order to define sisterhood, we're going to use 3 definitions provided by sisters who tuned into our live launch on June the 1st. Defining sisterhood is important because it gives women standards and expectations to govern themselves by when attempting to build a healthy and authentic relationship with other women. So after I share the 3 definitions, I will share my definition of sisterhood, which will be the definition we will use in later conversations on episodes to come. Melissa Lee West defines sisterhood as someone in your circle who you can laugh, cry, pray, and post bail for you when needed. And she makes note the post bail portion is the hood part of sisterhood. Ms. Rogers says sisterhood is someone who is honest and loyal and have your back even when you haven't said a word. Lisa Renee says sisterhood entails trust and sisters who you can unveil yourself to and become vulnerable before them and just be your true self at all times. All of these definitions are powerful definitions and provide reliable standards and expectations women can govern themselves by when attempting to build a healthy and authentic relationship. Now, it is vital before you build any relationship that you first discuss the expectations, and everyone that's a part of that knows the expectations. Now, this is why I believe Sisterhood Makeover is so vital, because it allows a platform for women to discuss real issues, be themselves, get support and acceptance. Before we move any further, I would like to share my definition of sisterhood. It will be the standard we will use for this particular platform. Now, I have broken down sisterhood into 2 separate portions. I define sister and then I define hood. Sister is a woman who is intimately connected to me. She shares my DNA. You are an image of who I am. No matter our diversities or our differences, she is a person I cannot easily disconnect myself from. Hood is a close-knit neighborhood, a community willing to ride or die for one another. So in a nutshell, sisters, you are a direct reflection of who I am. When I look into the mirror and look at myself, I see you. No matter our differences, I am here for you. I will accept you, I will support you, and I will love you unconditionally. I am your ride or die chick. Now, sisters, before we moved on in our makeover journey, I wanted to make sure that we were clear and in agreement about the standards and expectations set forth for this sisterhood, because I look forward to building an authentic relationship with women around the world. Which leads me to our next conversation. Why is sisterhood important? It is my personal belief that women hold answers for other sisters on the inside of them. It's like I said before, we are a mirror of one another. So when we're willing to have open dialogue and conversation and share our stories, we're helping out our fellow sister. Sometimes when we share our stories, we're just letting our fellow sister know she is not alone. And then when we share our testimonies, we're allowing a sister to get the answer that she needs to get from point A to point B, because we've been there and we've done that and we conquered that ground. Now, another thing, sisters, God has naturally created us to be sensitive human beings. So why not be sensitive to one another? I know from personal experience, I can look at another sister that I've never met before, sitting way across on the other side of the room, look into her eyes and see her hurt and see her pain. Also, if I'm sitting beside another sister, it's easy for me to pick up and be sensitive about the burden that she's carrying. And also, sisters, I have experienced sometimes carrying that burden for my fellow sister. And we don't have to broadcast it to the world. We could just go in our secret closet, pray for that sister. And sometimes if they're close to us, we could send them a message by calling them, texting them, and just letting them know that they are on our minds and that we love them and just how much they mean to us. Sisters, it's important that we begin to connect ourselves to fellow sisters that have our best interests in heart. Sisters, I arrived at this place by being willing to go through the process. So sisters, are you willing to go through the process? Are you willing to go to that deep place on the inside of you, allow healing to happen, become whole within yourself, know your own identity? That way you could be an open vessel for another sister. So sisters, having said that, are you willing to make the sacrifice for we could build a genuine sisterhood? And I know all too well that the makeover really begins inside of you. Sisters, in order to help you get through your process, I want to share 2 books with you that was very instrumental to me. The first book I want to share is Hurt People, Hurt People. It was written by Dr. Sandra D. Wilson. This is an awesome book because it really helps you to identify places in your life that you are repeating behavior or actions that was done to you by other people. And sometimes we don't even know that we're repeating those actions. But when we get in relationship with other people, some of the things that we go through in those relationships becomes learned behavior. So it's very important that we begin to know certain learned behaviors in our lives that are not productive. That way we can begin to change those behaviors in order for us to have healthy relationships. Also, I like this book because she deals with every spectrum of life. She deals with the church setting. She deals with your family setting. She deals with your relationships with coworkers and just any relationship that you could think about, because it's the truth. The title is powerful all by itself. Hurt people, hurt people. So until we get to a place that we feel whole, we feel healthy, we feel that we know our identity, we probably will keep on lashing out at other people. Another book that I would like to share with you, and I totally admire this woman of God. I remember even being probably in my early 20s in my mother's living room, pretending like I was Joyce Meyer and speaking to the masses of people and teaching the Word of God. So this book is very, very special to me, and it's called Power Thoughts. Now, I have also read Joyce Meyer's book, Managing Your Emotions, but today I just want to focus on Power Thoughts. Now, why this book is so good, because it helps you to identify wrong thought patterns in your life. Now, if you were like me, I used to think that I didn't deserve to feel a certain way about myself. I can't recall where all those feelings came from, but I had gotten to a place in my life that I didn't feel like I deserved to say, I am great. Just say good things and healthy things about myself. So that's why I love this book so much, because she even gives you strategies on how you could change your mind pattern into thinking positive thoughts about yourself, not about anyone else, but about yourself. And also those thoughts that we think about ourselves begin to project in our everyday life. So it's very, very important and very, very vital that we think healthy thoughts concerning ourselves. So Power Thoughts, it is a dynamic book to get to help you through your process of becoming healthy and whole and knowing your identity. Now, the last thing I want to share with you, sisters, and I want you to make sure that you watch the video from beginning to end. It's a video by Oprah Winfrey. She has become like a faraway mentor to me. I know Oprah Winfrey goes through a lot of flack from a lot of people, but the thing that I love about her is her tenacity. So I want to share a video with you. It's about 10 minutes long, and she's talking about the keys to success. Things that you can do to stay on the path to success.
Way through the challenge is to get still and ask yourself, what is the next right move? Not think about, oh, I got all of this stuff. What is the next right move? And then from that space, make the next right move and the next right move. And not to be overwhelmed by it, because you know your life is bigger than that one moment. You know you're not defined by what somebody says is a failure for you, because failure is just there to point you in a different direction. Nothing about my life is lucky. Nothing. A lot of grace, a lot of blessings, a lot of divine order, but I don't believe in luck. For me, luck is preparation meeting the moment of opportunity. There is no luck without you being prepared to handle that moment of opportunity. And so what I would say for myself is that because of my hand and a force greater than my own, I have been prepared in ways that I didn't even know I was being prepared for. And the truth is, for me and for every person, every single thing that has ever happened in your life is preparing you for the moment that is to come. You don't have to hold yourself hostage to who you used to be or anything you ever used to do. Because who has lived and hasn't made mistakes? When I think about my 20s and what a foolish girl I was, and how I would give over my power to men who really didn't mean me well, but now I hold no grudges against them either, because I realized I'm the one who gave over the power because I didn't know any better. And now that I know better, I know I don't have to do that again. It's one of the most powerful lessons any of us can ever know. I say to my girls all of the time that your real work is to figure out where your power base is and to work on the alignment of your personality, your gifts that you have to give, with the real reason why you're here. That's the number one thing you have to do, is to work on yourself and to fill yourself up and keep your cup full. Keep yourself full. Now, I used to be afraid of that. I used to be afraid, particularly from people who say, oh, she's so full of herself. She's so full of herself. And now I embrace it. I consider it a compliment that I am full of myself. Because you only when you're full, I'm overflowing, my cup runneth over. I have so much to offer and so much to give. And I am not afraid of honoring myself. You know, it's miraculous when you think about it. And I would say to my team, well, doesn't matter, because every season somebody else was coming out. One talk show, two talk shows, three talk shows. There have been over 100 talk shows since we started. But every time I would feel like, all right, got to step up our game, got to step up our game. The way you step up your game is not to worry about the other guy in any situation, because you can't control the other guy. You cannot control the other guy. You only have control over yourself. So it's like running a race. The energy that it takes to look back and see where the other guys are takes energy away from you. And if they're too close, it scares you. So that's what I would say to my team all the time. Don't waste your time in the race looking back to see where the other guy is or what the other guy is doing. It's not about the other guy. It's about what can you do. You just need to run that race as hard as you can. You need to give it everything you've got all the time for yourself. My grandmother was a maid. That's all she ever knew. The only real expectation she held for me was that I would one day become a maid and, in her words, have some good white folks, meaning people who would not speak negatively about me, who would allow me to take food home, who would be good to me, would treat me with some level of dignity and respect. That was my grandmother's dream for me. But I had another dream for myself, another, more than a dream. I had a belief for myself. And I remember watching her hang out clothes on a line one day and say to me, you have to watch me, Oprah Gail, because one day you'll have to do this for yourself. And knowing inside myself that that was not going to be my life. Don't know how I knew it, other than that thing that we all have, intuition or an instinct that said, no, this will not be my life. But because I sensed that and was connected to that, and I remember it was a very still moment. It was quiet, and I was still, and I was watching her. I could see her right now with the clothespins in her mouth and putting them on the line and seeing the breath, because it was cold, the moisture coming from her lips. And I knew that that would not be my life. I knew that I will not be hanging clothes on a line in a backyard in Mississippi. So I was either 4 or 5 years old. And that belief that that would not be my life is what I held on to for the longest of times. I just, no matter what, believed that there was something bigger, greater, more for me. I always understood that there really was no difference between me and the audience. At times, I might have had better shoes, but at the core of what really matters, that we are the same. And you know how I know that? Because all of us are seeking the same thing. You're here at this fabulous school, and we'll go out into the world and each pursue based upon what you believe your talents are, what your skills are, maybe your gifts are, but you're seeking the same thing. Everybody wants to fulfill the highest, truest expression of yourself as a human being. That's what you're looking for. The highest, truest expression of yourself as a human being. And because I understand that if you're working in a bakery and that's where you want to be, and that may be what you've always wanted to do, is to bake pies for people or bake cakes for people or to offer your gift, then that's for you. And there's no difference between you and me, except that's your platform. That's your show every day. So my understanding of that has allowed me to
reach everyone.
To reach everyone. And there's no way that you wouldn't, because that's what I truly feel. A lot of people don't know their purpose. And if you don't know your purpose, your immediate goal is to figure that out, because otherwise you're just wandering around here. So the moment you can figure out what it is you're supposed to be doing, the sooner you are able to get about the business of doing that. My life is fueled by my being, and the being fuels the doing. So I come from a centered place. I come from a focused place. I come from compassion. It's just my nature. I come from a willingness to understand and to be understood.
Right.
And I come from wanting to connect. I mean, the secret of that show for 25 years is that people could see themselves in me. All over the world, they could see themselves in me. And even as I became more and more financially successful, which was a big surprise to me, I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting.
You mean you got more than that 30,000?
I got more than 30,000 by the time I was 30. But what I realized is, through the whole process, because I'm grounded in my own self, that although I could have more shoes, my feet stayed on the ground, although I was wearing better shoes. These are kind of cute today, too. So I could keep my feet on the ground, even though I could get more shoes. And I could understand that it really was because I was grounded. I've done was doing and continue to this day to do the consciousness work. I work at staying awake. Dear, beautiful, brown-skinned girl. And I use the word beautiful because I know that's never a word you would call yourself. I look into your eyes and I see the light and hope of myself. In this photo, you're just about to turn 20, posing outside the television station where you were recently hired as a reporter. You look calm. You look happy. But I know how scared you are. If I could say anything to you, it would be, relax. It's gonna be okay, girl.
Congratulations, ladies. You made it through your first Sisterhood Makeover with Cinda Brown segment. Yay! I am so delighted that you decided to join me today, and I truly hope I said something that was impactful and encouraging. And I want you to remember what we discussed throughout your day and throughout the week, what sisterhood is, the importance of sisterhood, and the things we can do to make over the sisterhood. Signing off, your friend and your sister, Cinda Brown.